Peace and love, everyone. Hello from the coast of Maine. Already squirrels out there on the deck talking up a storm because the storm's coming. Peace and love. Thanks for being here this morning live and by recording. Sure appreciate your participation. I'm going to turn down the squirrel because he's pretty talkative out there. I have no idea what he's saying. So today we're going to talk about Søren Kierkegaard. And I'm calling this Listening for the Presence, the Transformative Power, and Søren Kierkegaard's Vision. So Søren Kierkegaard was a Danish philosopher, 1813 to 1855 or so. And he was a cultural critic, widely considered the father of existentialism. People talk about existentialism. Well, what is it? Existentialism is a philosophical movement that focuses on individual freedom, personal responsibility, and the pursuit of meaning in an indifferent or absurd universe. I don't think that. I think that the divine knows all and is all. And that's been my experience anyway. Kierkegaard's work explored Christian ethics, the individual relationship with God, and the idea of the individual, the single individual. And his writings address choice and faith and human condition. And Kierkegaard's philosophy has profoundly impacted modern theology. So he's had a big impact all the way along in existentialism and in Western philosophy as well as theology. Now, Kierkegaard, he's not usually considered a mystic, even though he's pretty often quoted. We're not having a human experience, we're souls having a divine experience. That's attributed to him, but apparently there's no proof that actually was written by him, according to a Kierkegaardian scholar I spoke with one time. But anyway, he's not usually regarded as a mystic in the traditional sense. However, his writings include significant mystical elements. We're going to talk about some of those this morning, especially regarding introspection, personal transformation, and the individual's relationship with the divine. So, mysticism. It emphasizes a direct experiential connection with Allah, God, the beloved, the source, beyond rational thought or dogma. And while Kierkegaard regarded faith's personal and subjective nature, he did so within a Christian framework that prioritized not the experience of the divine, but the leap of faith and the paradox of belief. So that kind of sets him outside of mysticism. He chose those belief and faith over union or ecstatic experience. So, maybe not a mystic. However, his profound reflections on silence and introspection and the transformative nature of prayer, similar to those we've been discussing of mystics around the world, strongly resonates with mysticism. He even articulates the idea of, quote, the single individual standing before God in a manner that may come across as mystical, particularly due to his emphasis on solitude, surrender, and a direct relationship of the divine to the divine. Though he's largely known as a philosopher and theologian, one can argue that Kierkegaard was a mystic subjectively and inwardly, even though he isn't labeled as such now or then in his time. So enough about who he was. Let's shift to the focus of his perspective on meditation, which he calls prayer. So Kierkegaard offers a profound view on prayer that sharply contrasts with most common notions of prayer as petition or persuasion. Everybody's asking God for something. In Kierkegaard's writings, he depicts prayer not as a means to influence God, something transactional to change God's will, but as a spiritual practice that transforms the individual who engages in it. This internal transaction, which we've talked about 1,000 times, rather than any external result, the thing that you're asking for, this interior transformation is what we're talking about, becomes the true essence of prayer. And Kierkegaard writes, the function of prayer is not to influence God, but to change the nature of the one who prays. And that's what we've been doing. That's what we're after here in our practice, in our group practice of meditation, and our individual practices. And this statement calls for a radical reorientation. Instead of seeing God as a cosmic dispenser like Santa Claus of blessings, gifts, or solutions, Kierkegaard encourages us to view prayer meditation as a space where the human heart is softened, clarified, and aligned with the divine. And it's not about bending God or God's will to our own will. Do this for me and I'll do that for you. But a willingness to change, becoming humble, trusting, and present. And in this sense, prayer transforms into a spiritual formation rather than a practice of negotiation. This inward movement is further emphasized in another of Kierkegaard's reflections. Quote, as my prayer became more attentive and inward, I had less and less to say. I finally became completely silent. This is how it is. To pray doesn't mean to speak, it means to listen. Prayer involves becoming silent, being silent and waiting until God is heard. And that, if that is not contemplative mysticism, I don't know what is. Here, the prayer transcends language and enters into stillness. Words are initially useful, but they yield to silence as the soul learns to listen rather than speak. And in this silence, the ego quiets, allowing the deeper presence of God, of the source of the beloved, to be perceived, not through some dramatic revelation, but through profound inner awareness. And together, these two quotes, these two insights urge us to see that prayer isn't a task or a transaction, but a deepening relationship. Transformation occurs in the still and quiet space of presence. And Kierkegaard's vision offers us a contemplative and soulful understanding of prayer, one that emphasizes not changing God's mind, but allowing ourselves to be transformed in the presence of the divine through listening, through being, through silence. And that, what he calls prayer, and that is just another way to describe meditation. Deep meditation, deep prayer is a practice of listening, silence, surrender, and transformation. Kierkegaard was a freaking genius. Even if he didn't have mystical experiences per se, he sounds like he meditated his way into it. And maybe he started out with faith and belief in his Christian context, but it sure sounds like he found the truth of surrender and silence, which in my book makes him much more mystical than not. So that's my little talk on Kierkegaard this morning. My sugar snap peas are up. No way, Judith. That is, wow. Wow. Congrats on that. Hi, Catherine. Good morning. Hello, Wendy in Vermont, where it's snowing and there are no snap peas, sugar snap peas coming up yet. All right. So I'm going to set an alarm here for the bottom of the hour. I have plenty of time to meditate. Thanks for being here live and by recording. And if you have anything to say it in the comments. Love to hear from you. These things are helpful. If you like our group meditation, it sure helps me. And as I wrote in the description, don't take my word for it. Meditating together actually does deepen each individual's practice. But you don't have to take my word for it. You can practice it for yourself. If you're new to us and you want to practice, have a simple way to do this is a centering prayer practice. Choose a sacred word or phrase or sentence and breathe into your belly through your nose, chanting your phrase or even Om inside your head, pausing with a full belly of air, and then slowly releasing out your nose as you continue to chant. And the words and the words and the prayer, the breath rather, the words and the breath lock together, and they're gentle, and you hold them in your palm, not grasping. And if the mind wanders, just come back to the breath, come back to the prayer, and keep repeating, and it will lead you into a place where the words just fall away, and one is left with breath and a practice of listening. And meditation really is a practice of listening. So today I'm going to put on my mask because I feel like it. Cut down the light. I like to eliminate light and sound. So how you evaluate? Oh, that was helpful. Good. Thank you. Good. Good to know. So I take my glasses off. There we go. I like to have a little darkness. Makes it easier for me. I haven't been using my mask for quite a while, but I found it. And I haven't been using it because I lost it. Here it is. All right, my hands are in this shape mula on my lap. My feet are flat on the floor. Kind of loosen everything up a little bit. Settle in. I'll move my mic away in a moment so you don't have to listen to me breathe. Breathe in into my belly. Pause. Listen to the silence there. Exhaling. Chanting in my head. Pause. Inhale. Sink into a